And we are recording. And this is a little talk I prepared very quickly yesterday. We're gonna talk about character design. It's a exciting subject for me. I really love character design, and I love especially making it in Quill. This is so fun to make characters in Quill, and just so quickly, and then suddenly you got that thing there that you can animate. So if I have time, I would love to create a character after I go through the theories and the concepts and stuff. So I have to go a little fast, but I would like to do that if we have time. So, character design. I'm not a huge professional character designer myself, but I've learned over the years, what are good character designs, what are bad. I did work as a character designer for a couple of projects in Cartoon Network in the UK, but I didn't, continue. I was always more of an animator, but sometimes I had this role of character designer just because they gave me these projects, so I had to do everything, just design it, animate it, blah blah, etc. So, what's the important thing that we need to first bear in mind when we are creating characters? Obviously, the story is very important. Who is this character? What is it? Is a male, female, is a human, is an animal, is a thing. What is his personality? What's the background? In the story that you're trying to tell, what's the character? How does the character fit on the story? Is it a bad guy? Is it a good guy? Is it young? Is it old? All these things are going to affect the design, the actual physical aspect of this character, right? Um, Things that I've been gathering over the time and also doing some research. These are all basic concepts that you can all find online. You can find all this stuff online, but uh, things that I apply, normally when I try to design my characters. Clarity is very important thing. Silhouette, you just have a recognizable silhouette for your character, right? This is a obviously super famous examples of really strong silhouette that you can just do whatever with that silhouette. You always know what character we're talking about here, right? Distinctive feature. This is something that I used in the remedy in the little the little soup, the little hair that comes out. I always wanted that for her to be a recognizable aspect, even if she's far away and you only see her ponytail flying with the wind. I always try to get that thing kind of coming out, so you can see that in the distance and that silhouette, and I wanted that to be a distinctive aspect of her. But a lot of other characters famous, they have this distinctive thing that comes out, like especially here we have the points. Um, Color palette. That's something also very important. I'm not a huge color expert, but if you look at really good character designs, they tend to have simple color palettes and made in a way that it's super recognizable, and you don't forget it. The combination of colors and not an amount of range, just to keep it in a depending on the character as well. But yeah, just simplify color palette. I think is also a good thing to bear in mind. Not having necessarily all the possible hues in one character, right? Um, Saturation based on story, based on the decisions that we made here. Saturation is something that really helps with clarity, right? Like you want your character to be clear, to read clearly what it is, who it is, and in order to get that super clear, we need to use exaggeration, caricature, right? Caricature is a form of um, making things more clear for the audience, right? So really, really important, all these aspects for clarity. Visual language, that's also something that we could have a completely different talk just about that, because it's a very interesting subject, but I'm just gonna keep it quick. Things that are very important to bear in mind is obviously things that work on a deep level, on an instinctive level in your brain that you just react to certain things in a certain way. So shapes on a character that are very soft and round tend to give you this kind of warm and nice feeling. A character that has big eyes and a slightly cross-eyed automatically gives you a sense of innocence, and you have empathy for this character. um, Obviously, the younger a character looks, the more empathy you got for this character. So you're gonna connect more with this character. You're gonna feel warm and kind of, you wanna be his friend. You wanna take care. You wanna make sure that this character doesn't suffer any dangers or anything like that. The color palette, I'm not sure if this is the right choice, but also affects your instinctive reacting to the character, right? So if you choose muted colors and kind of soft palette, you're gonna also react in this way to this character, right? And obviously, if we go the opposite spectrum, if we start to have a lot of points, sharp edges, corners, straight lines, pointy teeth, no eyes, almost no eyes, just really reduced or crunched, a lot of wrinkles. So all these things in a character, if you keep adding that, is gonna give you this feeling of threat, danger, um, instability. You're not. This character is not giving you a good feeling, or is giving you a sense of thread, right? And the color palette also can help with that, but I'm not sure this is the right example. But maybe the idea for the color, if you want these kind of feelings, you want to give a lot of contrast and saturation to your colors, right? The saturation, if you crank it up, you're gonna get that feeling as well of, and contrast of, you have complementary colors. Maybe that contrast gives you this kind of unease, and feeling on your visually. And all these things are very subjective and are very, like I said, in a deep level that the audience doesn't even realize the reaction that they're having to the character, right? In this, and there's more things about this that you can research online, but for me these are the two spectrums, right? The nice
Yeah, what
and
you just said, I think, goes
threatening.
beyond characters, right? It also like for storytelling in general. But I think
Yes.
the key word you used was contrast, because like I think a simple way to look at it is Lion King, right? The hyena world and the Mufasa world.
Exactly.
The hyena world is super gray and stuff, and
Yeah.
super dark, versus like the Mufasa world is super colorful. So I don't think there's like a right or wrong here. Like you chose red because it stays in contrast to the
Hmm.
to the baby colors and stuff like that.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
it's always a relationship between those two.
Yeah. Yeah. I Yeah, these are not good examples. Yeah, the Gordo is right. Like the color, if you want the colors to make a special feeling, you have to use contrast, right? The contrast between this color and this color creates this kind of thread or whatever. If you have less contrast, I think that's what gives you this kind of more feelings of relaxed innocence and everything. But yeah, there's a lot that you can do with the color language. And just moving on to more design stuff, appeal is another concept that comes up when you talk about character design. Um, what's appealing, what's not appealing, that's also very subjective. But there's a couple of things that we can all agree, and it's all about your style as well. Each style of every artist is going to be appealing in its own way, right? But there's a couple of things that normally work. Is your geometric shapes are always very appealing, and if you try to stick with those, they tend to work and they tend to give your character a sense of design that is appealing, that is pleasing to the eye. The concept of rhythm is a concept of breaking up a little bit the proportions. In this example, I try to, if you have a character that all the proportions are very even and they're very well distributed and very normal, it tends to be boring and it's not so appealing. And if you try to play with the proportions a little bit more, it's much more fun and more interesting, right? And also, detail is a concept that comes in rhythm, because if you have a character that has detail all over his body, you have all detail, detail here in all the parts. It gets confusing. The audience doesn't know where to look. It's all over the place. But if you have a character where he has more detail on the face, but then maybe it's more empty on the body, or he has more detail here and then not so much here. Yeah, just distributing the detail as well, that helps with the rhythm. Have a nice proportion. And flow is more about a similar concept to silhouette, I guess, but it's also trying to get lines that continue. Like, for example, this line starts on the skull, on the head, but you can continue that line even to the very bottom of your character, and the same for the belly, and continues all the way to the foot. No, so it doesn't always work in all the characters that you try to design, but it's good to have a good sense of flow of the character anatomy, right? To give you that pleasing, nice. And I forgot to add something else here. Um, Straight versus curve. That's also a good concept that helps a lot in character design. Um, so the typical example, you can have a character have like a straight on this side and a curve on the other side. Let's say this is the belly, right? So that this contrast between a straight and curve creates a really cool, appealing. Like if you're designing for example, the legs, when we're doing the leg of a character, I always try to get that contrast between straight and curve, and then that same curve kind of flows onto the foot here, and we have a straight here, curve here. So I don't know. It's something that's more coming from traditional drawing, 2D drawing, but applies a lot for even if we have 3D characters in Quill.
Yeah,
Um,
watch Madagascar for that.
yeah, they use this concept a
It's
lot,
the
right?
best example for straight against curves in 3D.
Yeah. So how are we doing in time?
We're like
15
15 minutes.
minutes. Oh, that's
Yeah.
good. That's good. So maybe we can do live design later, if I'm able to do it. I don't know. I'm I'm not super fast, but anyway. And the last thing, the it's good to remember is anatomy versus style. I Well, basically this goes along. It's a kind of, the whole concept of a style is very subjective. Each artist has its own style, its own. Every artist has a background of influences or life. Your personal life affects the way you draw as well. Your experiences and your in your career, and the different the different teachers that you had or people who you look up to, is all of those things are going to influence your character design style as well. But your style, sometimes, it's good to remember to, if you have to also ask yourself how much of your style is going to combine with the actual anatomy of the character that you're designing, right? So yeah, I don't know. I thought it would be a good idea to do this to find the right balance between your style, your special stylized world, and also a little bit of, let's see what's the balance that we can find between that and the actual science and the actual anatomy of the character you're building, right? In this case, I wanted to do an elephant that is kind of balancing. Hey, balance, you see. And I tried to get my own style that's very influenced by the Disney movies and also the French comic book artists and the Spanish comic book artists. I have that style in there, but I also add a little bit of that kind of scientific knowledge of, okay, I know the skull of an elephant has this little bump, and I know the trunk is like that, and I know the elephant has this three nails, whatever, and I did all of this guy without looking at any reference. I just know in my head the anatomy of an elephant because I've seen so many elephants in pictures in real life in videos, and I did this by memory because of that, right? So if you don't have that memory, it's always good to have a bunch of photographs and whatever thing that you can use to document yourself and inform yourself about the actual anatomy of your character, and then use that um, for the information, right? And I think that's all the concepts that I wanted to talk about before jumping into drawing and doing something. But is there any question about all of this stuff?
It's less of a question. This is more of a technical note that I wanted to point out too. Especially in Quill, I feel like it's important to keep in mind how you're building a character too, and how detailed you get. Because I've been building some characters for animation just for a little bit for my own stuff, and I noticed that the more detailed and the more stuff I want to add to them, it's a lot more stuff I have to do and animate later on. Like if I have this wizard character with like a ton of robes and flowing cloth, that's just extra stuff I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, also figuring out how to build it in Quill can be um, its own challenge, and seeing how
Yeah.
well it animates. So it's like there's also a little bit of technical stuff what comes with building it, which I don't know if you're gonna touch on at all, but it's something to keep in mind.
I
So
think that would be more like an optimization thing. I usually try
Yeah,
to separate design from the technical stuff. So, like, if you're not familiar, like, if you don't have optimization and muscle memory, I always recommend don't worry about that first. You know, like worry about the design first, and then recreate it the way you want to use it because it's really difficult. I figured that it's really difficult to do both at the same time if you don't really know what you can do in terms of optimization. So I think I said it in a past stream, but when I did Last Oasis, I was distracted by optimization, so I focused on design first and just did everything the way I wanted. And I would do the same here. Just worry about the character design first, and then when you get to really recreating him for animation, that's when you do the optimization as a second step. Doing both at the same time might be a little bit difficult.
yeah, that's
yeah,
really good. That's a really good way to do it.
I found that if you put your dial toward this way a little bit more, it's gonna be more optimized normally. I mean, the more you go to the
Oh yeah,
abstract, the more you go to the cartoony, uh, you know, your particular style, simple geometric shapes. The more you go that way, it'll work better in Quill Theater for optimization purposes. The more realistic we try to go, uh, obviously more detail, more things that we're gonna have to build, and obviously it's just harder to make a character that is realistic in Quill, obviously. um
Where would you put Remedy on that scale?
that's a good question. I think it's somewhere there. I don't know. It's a little bit more in the middle, I guess, because yeah, it's very comic book style and it's very abstract in the color palette, and a lot of things are not realistic at all, and especially the kid is kind of cartoony. But they do have anatomy, and they do have like sometimes I try to draw a little bit of a muscle.
Yeah, it's interesting. I would have gone a little bit more to the left on the
You think
scale.
it's this way, the remedy?
Like not
Could
that
be. I don't know.
far
Yeah.
above the eye.
Uh, yeah, I mean that's very. This is very symbolic. It's just super subjective. But yeah, I think it's a good thing to bear in mind of how far to the right or the left you want your character to be, um, because you don't want to be completely South Park. I mean, I guess you can, and it's funny, but it has to compensate with. I mean, South Park works because the script and the jokes are so fucking good that you don't care of the how bad the character designs are, right?
But
So
South
how
Park is all 3D, right? South Park is all done in Maya, I
it's
think.
Maya, but it's all flat.
Yeah. but it's
for
3D.
flat 2D. Yeah, it's 2D. Yeah, because they use a lot of scripts to make things super efficient. Anyway,
Hmm.
and also you don't want to go all the way live action because you can just film live action. Why would you do that in animation? And this is the problem that I have with some of these new movies. You know that they release, like, why going hyper real when you have live action that looks better? So to me, something here is the right sweet
I
spot.
thought that I had that thought with
Actually,
Final Fantasy, the spirits within,
say it again.
the spirits within Final Fantasy. The
Yeah,
But
well,
that's
I was like,
almost
why
there.
not
And
just use
the valley. Where is the valley? Where is the weird valley?
Uncanny Valley?
Uncanny
Uncanny
the
valley
Valley.
uncanny valley, yeah.
is somewhere here, right? Where
Yeah.
it's almost real, but it's not really. It's and I think the Disney movies that we're doing these days, especially Raya, it kind of sits almost there. Like
Hmm.
Hmm.
it's a stylized, but it's very realistic in terms of rendering and stuff, and the character proportions and all that. So yeah, I don't know,
One thing
something to keep in mind.
yeah, sorry, Daniel. One thing that we should probably touch on. I think you already, maybe you already did, but it's the fact that normally on production and industry, this part of the process is done by a full department, and it has its own principles,
Oh yeah.
and that's done prior to everything. So usually it's kind of almost separate from animation
Oh
itself,
yeah, 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 of course, yeah.
because it has its own principles.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it's
yeah.
usually the person that does this doesn't do anything else. It's the same as the animators. They don't do anything else. But I'm thinking for the younger people in the audience, I think it's probably important to say that.
Yeah, it's a whole profession on itself. Like storyboard artist is a whole
Yeah.
profession on itself.
It also depends on which area of the world you live in, and like I feel like
Yes.
when
Yeah.
I was in Germany, you're much more generalist, where a character designer does also the storyboards and stuff like that.
Oh
In
yeah,
big
yeah.
productions like in DreamWorks and Pixar and stuff, you usually have like a handful of character designers that design basically characters for all blockbuster movies. But I think in other parts of the world, it's a little bit more where a character designer might be also a storyboard artist or might be also a 2D animator. While in big studios like DreamWorks, Disney, or Blue Sky, they have dedicated character designers, such as Carter Goodrich or Craig Kelman and all those kinds of guys.
Yeah, Sergio Pablos is a good example.
Oh yeah,
He's an awesome character animator, but he's very good at character design, and he ended up being character designer at Disney, and yeah, he became
now he directed.
and he's a director. So he's yeah. Some artists have more interest in more things, and some artists are
Yeah.
only focusing one aspect of animation or art or whatever. So I think Quill allows you to be all these things. It allows you to be character
Hmm.
designer, animator, director,
Hmm.
art director. So it's awesome that the people with a lot of interest and a lot of curiosity are able to jump in this program and just do their own short films with everything. So if you want, we can do this quick experiment and design a character very quickly. If you
Do it.
guys
You're
give me,
26 minutes in.
we have half an hour, right?
Yep.
Okay. If you guys give me a couple of things from this list, so if you guys tell me you guys want a human, an animal, a thing, you guys want, let's find three.
Alien.
Huh?
An alien.
Alien. Okay, let's type it. Let's write it here somewhere. Okay, let's just write it here. Alien. What else? Personality, for example. Any suggestions?
He's
That's
he's strong, but he's dumb.
Okay, strong and
that's
dumb. I
good.
love that. Strong and dumb. Oops, I don't know how to write. Let's
He's got a bit of
say
a
I don't know,
belly.
background, any profession, any lifestyle, any background that we can think of.
He's vegan.
Vague. Awesome. I love that. Um, I think I think I got enough, right? Yeah, I think I got enough stuff. So, character design. It's gonna be challenging to do this.
So maybe he's a trash guy, right? That gives
Yeah.
a little bit of context for what clothes he would wear.
Okay, where
He
do I
takes care of
start?
trash.
Let me hide all this. No, I don't want to hide it. I want to move it around. Let me put it all in a folder. I'm very particular with. I just like to have the grid always on. I don't know why. Uh,
Good practice. You know where the floor is. So.
I don't know why. I just feel more comfortable if the grid is there. I think it gives me like yeah, it gives me a ground plane. It gives me
Well,
something.
also it gives you orientation for snapping and stuff, right? You know exactly where it's going to snap. So
Okay, I want this to be here somewhere so I can still look at it, and I want to have my character here. All right, alien strong, and then what else we said?
he's like a trash guy. He takes care of alien trash.
Oh yeah, that's his profession, right?
Yeah. I don't know what you call those.
I don't know, trash guy.
Garbage man, trash
Garbage
man.
man. Yeah, garbage man.
Okay, so first thing, he's a strong and dumb. I think I have an idea for that. I'm gonna use the triangle as as a basic shape, right? Because it's very strong. He has broad shoulders, so these are his shoulders. And I guess I'm gonna start doing that kind of thing that I told you about. I really like the flow of the chest with the feet, and I'm gonna maybe do a small feet compared to the rest of this proportion. Okay, we got something. I got a strong chest, and I'm gonna make him a V-neck. I think it's very important for vegan people to wear a V-neck for some
It's
reason.
very
Oh my god, I
important.
created a monster.
Okay, so he's an alien, so he won't have a normal head, right? He will have a strange head. I don't know what. Oh, let's see. What do we do? Let's see. I don't know. Does he have a tentacle maybe here on his head? I don't know. Let's. I don't know how to draw aliens.
You can give him like
He looks like a
three
plant.
eyes.
Okay, let me try
Is there a
something.
wrong way to draw an alien?
Yeah, it's just antennas, and that's it. That's an alien.
And give him 3 eyes.
That's the other thing that I didn't talk about. Originality, right? How can you be original when everything is being invented, right? That's another subject that is pretty hard to achieve. He's a trash guy, huh? Maybe he wears some sort of hat.
He might need some sort of workwear, like overalls
Overall.
and things like that,
Yes.
Some kind of
like
jumpsuit.
a jacket or something like that, like Especially because it's probably something that requires effort. So it's probably something he probably needs the appropriate clothing to do things like that.
Okay, I decided that this is going to be his distinctive feature. He has some sort of weird tentacles that come out of his head, right? Something like that. And
Some Cthulhu-looking dude.
he's kind of like an octopus alien, I guess. And I'm gonna make him very relaxed expression.
It's like your expression. I think you
Yeah,
draw yourself a droopy eye. Something.
yeah. That's the other thing that tends to happen. It's you tend to draw yourself a lot in character design, so it's not a bad thing. I mean, I think it's cool.
Give him one more eye. Just duplicate one more. 3 eyes instead of 2. There you go.
The third eye. And how is his mouth? Is he like a duck mouth kind of thing? I mean, when I find myself that my character is not original and I'm just repeating the tropes and things that have been done 100 times, that's when I start to okay. I'm gonna look for some reference. I'm gonna look at what has been done in in this field and try to find a combination of something that hasn't been done too much. So I guess I had never seen this kind of duck face with the octopus head. So I feel happy with that more or less. And I'm gonna make him like a long, long fingers maybe something like that. Kind of in a cartoony UPA style, which is one of my favorite things as well. So, like again, like I said, your personal taste is a lot of influence as well on what you're gonna do. Uh, so that's the overalls kind of thing, right?
Kind of needs some boots if he's
Oh
working
yeah,
out.
that's true. Thanks for the tips. Let's say we're happy with this guy. He has like a hat, and I'll maybe something like a logo on the hat, so it indicates that he's working on this trash company. Maybe I'll have his name tag or something there. And
Give him
underneath all
one.
of that, I wanna keep the V-neck maybe somehow to just give
Give
the
him some
impression. Maybe some chest hair.
Also,
gloves.
the T-shirt is salmon.
And I think
It's
I'm gonna
color
give him like a
salmon.
very well trimmed um, goatee, like a really sharply trimmed, because I imagine this guy being some sort of millennial hipster dude.
Oh
So he
wow.
so he has some sort of very well trimmed little beard, and I think that helps with the idea that maybe this guy is a vegan. So who knows? And I gave him a little earring, right, on his tentacle. Why not?
Yeah.
So I guess maybe that works with all the. Maybe
You
he
might
looks.
need to add more pockets because if he's wearing a work uniform and it seems to be mechanical, you need to have like pockets to put tools on.
As a
Maybe,
trash
but
guy, I don't think a trash guy needs so many
yeah,
pockets. He does need
fair enough.
gloves.
Uh,
So I'm gonna make him nice triangular shaped gloves that look kind of more appealing. All right.
Did
So
you
we.
add the vest? The vest is, I think, super telling.
Oh
Right?
yeah, you're right. Instead of overalls, maybe we can do a
No,
vest.
he can have the vest overall, but he can have the vest on top,
Oh, I think we're making it too complicated now, huh?
right?
I've never seen that.
Let's see if we do a vest. Maybe it'll be easier to recognize the.
Oh, like what construction?
Something like that. I kind of like the overalls better to give you this feeling of
Me too.
working as a trash guy. Okay, let's just what's the time more or less?
You have still 25 minutes.
25 minutes. Okay, I think we still got time. Okay, I'm kind of happy with this guy. I normally would do this, and I would use the grab tool a lot to kind of play with the proportions and see maybe I may want his head smaller or bigger. I mean, grab tool is just wonderful for these kind of things. So maybe sometimes I would do this. I want his legs slightly longer. It's just so wonderful to be able to do that. Like in a regular 2D drawing, Yes, you can do it. Yes, you can switch to Liquify tool. Yes, you can do all this stuff in Photoshop, but it's so much more fun to just grab your hand and just like you have a toy in your hand and just, oh yeah, you know what? Sometimes when I do this as well. I put the character on the floor and I use grab tool to give his posture a little bit more of a curvature, and that helps as well with the pose. He can maybe look one way, the other, but yeah, this curvature, these S shapes here, I think that also helps with the character design. Uh, okay, I think we're just gonna leave it at that and start building. And I'm gonna start building on a separate layer. Wait, I don't like that. I like this to be this way. And when we start building, we need to think about colors too. So, what's the color of this alien? And to build a character efficiently, I normally turn on the wireframe, so we can really see all these wires. And let's see, what's the? I mean, regularly you do an alien green, so I guess we can just go green,
Earthy colors, I
or
think.
maybe purplish because he has these tentacles. Maybe let's see.
The clothes will be kind of bluish, I guess. Right?
Yeah,
Blue or orange. So
what? Yeah, the garbage clothes are kind of orange, so maybe purple with orange will work well. Let's see. Okay, so I know I have to do two things here. I have to do the skin color, and then I have the V-neck color, and then the overalls. So I'm gonna say that his skin starts here, and I'm gonna end, and it's gonna end here. I don't need to do much more here with and I use the thickness tool to make that. And I think the simpler I do it, the better it's gonna be. It's gonna be much better, especially for optimization. And I want this V-neck maybe to be a white shirt. So I'm just gonna do just regular white. I'm not gonna complicate for now. And remember the technique here using uh, this brush, like we talked about on the faces tutorial. It has two different endings. It's this one, and it's just kind of more pointy on the other side. So I'm using the thicker side to differentiate here between the skin and the shirt. And the body on the bottom, we decided maybe orange. Let's see, because of his profession. And I wonder if it's a good idea to do this, or it's maybe better to do some lathing here. Let's see. Maybe better to do lathing for this case. So it's gonna be really simple here. Actually, it's better sometimes to just use the straight line tool and just build the silhouette of that lathe that we're gonna do. I like to do that just right in the middle and design kind of what's the belly gonna look like more or less. What's the curvature of the belly, right? And this lathing is also gonna be his butt. So I think it's gonna be useful to do lathing for this specific thing. It's gonna right in the middle more or less. Yeah, it's not perfect, but over there. Let's just duplicate the hell out of this. It's maybe too much. But the rest of the body parts, we're gonna keep it pre optimized, so it may be all right. So let's see if I can still follow my sketch. And obviously this, I hear somebody with a mic and I have some kind of background noises in there.
Yeah, Felix, so your mic's just a little hot right now.
All right, so we got the bottom part of the overalls, more or less. And for the rest of the overalls, I'm just gonna use the same old trusty brush here. Super useful. This one is gonna end here, I think. And this one is gonna end here, more or less. Let's do another for the actual strap here. And the arm, because it's gonna be thick, it's gonna cover all of those mistakes in there. Actually, I'm just gonna do another one. I don't care. So fast. All right, just try to preserve the personality of the sketch. That's the biggest challenge in this process. Just make sure that we have that personality there. That doesn't go away. Okay, I think I got a good base for that. I think we
You might want to save.
Yeah, that's a good idea too. Save all the stuff. Let's close this gap here. This brush is perfect for closing gaps and hiding the spaghetti and all these things, right? So now it's nice sharp edges. We got a nice defined body and I still following my design principles. So let's do the legs quickly. Well, I normally just do one leg only and then mirror. And this one is gonna be the boots are gonna be maybe black or brown, dark brown. And the same for the gloves. I'm gonna use something simple for that. Feet are very hard to do. In this, I'm gonna for the speed's sake, I'm just gonna do this. I'm not gonna complicate my life with the feet, but they're pretty hard to do if you want them to have heels and everything. The more realistic the feet are, the harder are to create. This is good enough for the fast. And the arms are gonna have a short sleeve. So for short sleeve, we can do a simple trick, which is basically recoloring, and that will be sufficient, I think. I'm gonna just a little thinner on the bottom. I think his arms are almost like a tentacles, so there's not a lot of anatomy in there. I'm not gonna make him human anatomy, but a little bit thicker on the shoulder side. I think that works nicely. I'm gonna try to keep that design language. And like I said, we can just colorize. I think should be enough. And the skin is obviously purple, so. And maybe I can just do a line later. I decided gloves are gonna be the same color, so we don't have too many different colors. Trying to apply my design principles there.
You have about 15 minutes left.
Oh, perfect. And the fingers, I'm gonna keep them pretty cartoony. So it's maybe a little thing here, a little thicker over there, and grab tooling. Just so fun. It's like clay. So I like this shape. A little bit, thinner in the beginning, a little bit thicker at the end. It gives a nice dynamic contrast for appeal. The principles that we talked about. So it's not boring. It's not a simple cylinder, right? The fingers are also important to follow the principle of rhythm. So you don't want all your fingers to be bent exactly the same way. So one is bent a little bit more than the other. This one is curling a bit more, and there is a pattern to the curling. Oh, my left touch controller is low. Shit. Okay, let me change batteries really fast. Yeah, sucks. Sorry for all
You
this.
duplicated a finger.
Oh, sorry. I'll undo it. Sorry for all the swearing, by the way. I'm gonna have to edit that for YouTube, right?
I didn't hear anything.
Oh, okay. I
Dude,
I think I dropped one before.
Danielle, we're gonna get a channel strike. We're gonna get demonetized.
Oh yeah, exactly. We don't get any money from this. I forgot about that. Okay. To another subject. Tentacles. We can just do one, right? I don't need to.
That was like a pro battery change there. How streamlined that is. You probably have a charger on your desk, right?
Dude, I'm a pro changing batteries, man. I've been doing this for a long time.
I have like I think 20 rechargeable batteries always ready.
Yeah. That's the Quill Pro right there. Yeah. Funny how I choose tentacles because there's so much fun to do in Quill. And something cool, maybe I could do something a little bit like a different color on the tip or something. Maybe blue. I don't know. Something fun. Yeah, let's. Well, I can play with the colors later, but I think this could be cool. I think that's all right. Just gonna make sure they're not completely duplicates, just a little bit different. All right, eyes. Let's create one eye. I'm gonna be pretty traditional about this, just a regular circle. I want this kind of, this is perfect to doing eyelids. It works really well. Just bend it a little bit, just fold it over like clay. Boom. And we got the other side. Perfect. And we can play with the color of this too, just a little slightly darker maybe. And for the pupils, I always use this guy because it has a little bit of volume. Just a tiny straight line, and that's it. You got your. The problem with this thing is gonna do this in Quest. No matter if you put it here, it's gonna do this. It's so annoying when that happens. So the only way to avoid that for the when you translate to Quest is having this higher resolution.
What happens if you rotate it 90 degrees? So the pole is facing.
Actually,
like
yeah.
that.
Actually, that's the problem is you see this corner here, kind of
Yeah,
ugly.
that's true.
Anyway, let's not worry about that because we're not gonna explore these two quests right now. Just I'm just trying to be fast. So okay. Uh, oh, it's so high res that it looks black from the. Okay, whatever. Uh, okay, let's quickly do the mouth, kind of like a duck mouth. Let's see if I can do something like that with just one stroke. And I'm gonna use this curve here to help me with the smile expression. I think that's gonna be. Sometimes these things happen when you grab tool too much, but a little bit of optimize cleans it out a little bit. You see? All right, we got this kind of duck face for the bottom. I'm just gonna do another one. No need to. And then we can define the smile later with the line drawing. Yeah, it's almost like a duck. And I really want to do this goatee. I think it's gonna be so fun. Something like that. And a little bit of chest hair because why not? Okay, and the hat. The hat could be maybe this color too because it's the company hat, right? Just gonna, yeah, something like that. Just cap it. Mm. Okay. And for the visor thing, I think one should be enough. Just more or less. Just play with the colors a little bit. A little dirty. All right. Let's see how this guy looks so far. That's all right, more or less. Let's keep duplicating these eyes. Where am I? I'm in this one. Yeah. And 3 eyes. We want some eyebrows. And I'm gonna draw his mouth line. Doesn't have to be. And then from the other side, we could also have a little bit of that. But I think one side is more protagonist than the other one. All right, so duplicate this to new layer, blah, blah, blah. So if I put the pivot right in the middle, should work once I click on flip X, more or less. And let's do the same with the leg. Copy to new layer, blah, blah, blah. Put it right in the middle. Flip X. Let's merge everything. Oh, I forgot to do thumb. That's okay. Is you guys can still hear me?
Yeah.
Oh,
You
sorry.
want to save?
Mhm.
Sorry.
I
You
thought
might want to save at this point
there
again.
was such silence. I didn't know if I broke something.
Just
I feel like that a
mesmerized.
lot of. I feel like that a lot of times in these streams. Are you guys still there?
Okay, I think we got something. It's obviously not finished, but you can see how efficiently can build a character that looks more or less the way you plan it.
That is awesome.
And we can still play again with the grab tool to maybe get some of that a little bit more. Oh, I forgot the ring. He needs to have a ring.
So, are you going to make him dance and walk now? You have 2 minutes.
Sure. I think.
Kidding.
We can.
Around like a dumbass, like just grab to him a little bit, let him idle around by looking around in his environment. He doesn't know what to do,
Sure. Yeah,
Need the big garbage bag, that's for sure.
let's play a little bit with the colors first. The color palette, I'm kind of happy with it. I like the combination between the dark brown and the white and the purple. But since we have all these tools, it's cool to kind of play around with burn here and see, okay, let's do a little bit darker over there with this different tonality and see how it looks like. If, if we just select this slating aspect here, we can do something here. Just select all the only the lading part maybe, and we can just
Hey, Daniel, for this character, the way you built it, would you suggest building it this way to do the animations you've done in the past as well?
Yes. This
Mhm.
build, the way I build it is the most I think it's efficient because yeah, you can see that's 52K only. And I think that would be enough for animation. I think you don't need more complexity than that. I mean, if you look at the wireframe, it's still dense enough so you can actually animate things like the tentacles if you need to, and they will look all right. Um, but yeah, I mean, I think that's also a thing I wanted to show you guys how to be
Yeah,
efficient.
and then you would just like move things into different groups as you have them.
Yeah, that depends on the animation that he needs to do. If animation is a whole different thing that I would need to get him ready for, like depending on the action he needs to do. If he's, for example, if he's walking and that's it, so I would do maybe a walk cycle on the spot and use the transform keys to moving over in the space, right? Um, let's play a little bit.
Yeah, he's built really, really smartly.
Instead of instead of this, I can just maybe figure out maybe he wants to have a little bit more reddish at the end of his arm. Maybe I don't know. Got a normal. I don't know. I always try to play with colors a little bit to figure out gradients and things that maybe I can do to make the colors more interesting. In this case, I'm adding a little bit of red here and there. I think it's cool if the top of his cranium is a little bit more red. Maybe. And maybe this eye is a little darker in general. Who knows? And the mouth, instead of that, we can just use normal. Maybe have some of that red. And maybe this part of the mouth is a little darker.
Yeah, I think on that one you can go a lot darker, right? Because it's
Yeah.
Look at that. Nice.
Those little gradients that already help to give the character some the colors to be a little bit more interesting. A little bit more red here in the chest also helps.
Now this guy's vegan if I've ever seen one.
Does it look like a vegan guy? I mean, did I succeed in that? I mean, I wasn't sure if I was gonna. I think I really want a name tag here. Maybe like a bright yellow, so it feels like it's a company that he works for. Maybe some buckles or something. I mean, I'm talking about details now.
Give him a carrot pin.
Maybe some.
He needs a recycling logo.
Those overalls, they tend to have this kind of thing, right? Like a buckle or something. And then I tend to do this thing where the contact of the objects, I try to choose a really dark color to establish that contact between things. You know, since we don't have ambient occlusion really, but a line here between the contact between the cloth and the other cloth, I think helps a lot to define that and make it look like a ambient occlusion almost. It's a good definition line. I call these kind of definition lines, right? So if I choose the skin color, maybe really dark, get that contact line. Maybe sometimes if it needs to be very precise, I do a straight line, and I'll just do grab to really be precise about that, right? And just grab tool allows you to stretch all these lines the way you want. It's a little. Maybe it's better to have this flat brush here to look. So it makes it look like a contact shadow. Yeah, it's probably better than the sphere. And sometimes you jump into these issues where, oh, this is super low poly. Look at this. We have a big corner here. So, I mean, this could be a problem or not. But if it does become a problem, then you have to go back to the lathing technique. What I did here, just to cover that area. But if it's a very stylized character, sometimes you don't really do that. You know, you don't really need to do that. Let me do
6 minutes over, Daniel, just for time reference.
Okay, yeah, this all the stuff that I'm doing is extra. I think we got a good base for this, right?
Super cool.
Any questions about the building process or the character design concepts or
I think we covered a lot of the good stuff. Yeah.
You should use him for something. It's
Maybe
really cool.
maybe he will appear in my next
Remedy 2.
challenge.
Remedy 2, the
For,
villain.
yeah, this is gonna be the bad guy for Remedy 2. It's gonna be a vegan bad guy. Actually, I'm gonna change the. I'm gonna make his eye direction to be a little bit wall-eyed. I didn't talk about this, but the eyes give you so much personality on a character, and just changing this, I think it gives him kind of a weird, goofy look, as opposed to when you cross the eyes of your character. Uh, if you cross them too much, he can look like he's crazy, or he has a problem. He has a lazy eye problem. Also, if you don't cross it that much, if it's slightly crossed, can give you a feeling of cute, a cute character. Like the Pixar, they do this a lot. They cross the eyes ever so slightly so they look more cute, because that's what babies do. If you look at, I'm looking at my baby all the time, and I realize her eyes are slightly crossed. You know, it's a little bit cross-eyed, gives you that feeling of innocence, right? And if you do the opposite, you get the Homer Simpson look, and that's Homer Simpson, right? He's looking is wall-eyed, and that can change totally the personality and the of your character. So I think I forgot to mention that, but it's a really good thing to bear in mind, whether the eyes are cross-eyed or not. And I forgot to do his eyelashes. I'm gonna go make them really quickly. And yeah, the flat brush for the eyelashes is very useful.
So I've been having a lot of trouble creating more threatening characters. Is there a way, like a simple way, to make diamond shapes in Quill?
Oh, that's a good question.
Now, when you say diamond
Tyler,
shapes, are
go.
you meaning? I was about to say, like,
What is the
are
precise
you-
diamond?
yeah, like, what cut are we talking here?
How many carrots?
Yeah.
I don't know, just kind of like
Um.
a D&D die.
Okay.
Okay, so yeah,
diamond
so
shape. I mean,
you've
I use this guy a lot for the bad guy on the Remedy, the cube brush, because that gives you super. Sorry, you know, super sharp shapes,
yeah.
and then
You could do something like that with the cube brush, where you make one half of it a pyramid and then flip it over. Shading it like that though works cool for that instance, but sometimes quests can make it a little finicky
Blurry.
because they clip. Yeah.
Yeah, the clipping
Um,
on Quest is it's a pain, yes. But
there's a way to do that though, where if you do, you can build it really quick with 2 cube brush strokes, where they taper off, so you've got like a pyramid and you flip it. Just go back in with the flat square brush and then go over top of it and just replace it, so you can basically make the exact same shape as one of the faces, and then just place them as needed.
Cool. Actually, yeah, that might work. Thanks.
Yeah, Tyler actually has a full tutorial on the virtual animation YouTube channel about how to make like the D&D dice.
Yeah, I've got the D20 in there, which is, it's not 100% perfect, but it's pretty close. As close as you'll probably get, unless you
It's close enough, man.
sit there for 3 years and do the exact like angle snapping things, which would take forever. Just not worth it.
all right. I'm happy this turned out well. I was really nervous at the beginning when I thought I lost my files. But thank you everybody for joining and listening and everything and the questions.
Yeah, in their most recent Quillen show, Rosina joined, and I said I'd give her a shout out because she's in New Zealand and she'd have to be awake at 5 a.m. to see it. But I saw her in here and I was like, whoa,
New
holy
Zealand.
cow!
Wow.
Yeah,
That's not the optimized way to do a shadow, but I'm just gonna finish
Hey,
with that.
you know,
It's
Um,
all about presentation.
yes, let's finish the presentation with a nice shadow on the floor. What am I doing?
you're having fun.
What am I doing with this guy? Okay. Okay. this
He's
is gonna
standing
be-
on a pizza.
This is exactly.
Shall
A
we give
vegan
him a
pizza,
name?
though.
It's a vegan pizza.
Standing
Now
on
I
his
remember
vegan
it.
pizza.
It's in
It's
the
a piece of
fridge.
pepperoni.
It's a pepperoni pizza.
Beautiful.
All
That's
right,
very nice,
guys.
Daniel.
I
I
hope you
love it.
like the presentation.
Thank you.
I hope it gets you inspired to create some characters in Quill. All right. I'm going to stop the recording and see you guys on the next one.
Yeah, that was super cool.
Thank you.